Hello everyone. Myself Professor Sakshi Gunde, Assistant Professor in the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering at AISSMS Institute of Information Technology. This presentation consists on the topic of single stage common emitter amplifier. Now we are aware about common emitter configuration of any amplifier in the last presentation. To recall, in a common emitter amplifier, input is given to base terminal and output is taken to the collector terminal, while emitter is common between both input and output terminal. For an amplifier to act, a small input signal of base current controls a large output signal of collector current, and that is why it is called as common emitter amplifier. The next question arises is, what is meant by single stage amplifier? A single stage amplifier uses only one transistor for amplification process. As the figure below shows, a NPN transistor has input stage at the base side and the output stage at the collector side, and only one transistor is present between the input stage and output stage. That is why it is called as a single stage of amplifier. To be more specific with, an amplifier can be classified into various types depending upon the frequency ranges or depending upon the configuration type of BJT or FET or depending upon the number of stages of amplification and many more. An amplifier can be classified into two categories of depending upon the number of stages of amplification. The first one is single stage amplifiers and the next is multi-stage amplifiers. As the name itself suggests, a single stage amplifier is which has only one transistor circuit for the process of amplification. That is, in between an input stage and an output stage, only one BJT or FET or any transistor is present. Meanwhile, a multi-stage amplifier has more than one transistor circuit in between input and output stages. That is, a combination of BJT or FET is placed between input and output stage. And how they are connected? The output of first BJT is connected to the input of next BJT, and the output of second BJT is connected to the third one, and so on. So these are mainly classification of amplifiers into two types. We are going to study a single stage amplifier, more specifically a single stage common emitter amplifier. This is a broad listed circuit of common emitter configuration of single stage amplifier. When a single BJT is connected to common emitter configuration, then the circuit is labeled as single stage common emitter amplifier. Here in this circuit, input is applied between base and emitter and the output is taken from collector and emitter. Let us see the detailed function of each of the component in the circuit diagram. The left hand side of the circuit diagram shows the input side of the amplifier, that is the base side of the amplifier. Resistor R1 and R2 acts as the input resistors in between the base terminal. This is called as voltage divider biasing circuit. These two input resistors, that is R1 and R2, are used to provide proper biasing for BJT to be used in active region. As we have already seen, for a BJT to act as an amplifier, it should be acting in active region, not in saturation or not in cutoff region. Therefore, for a BJT to be maintained in active region, These two resistors R1 and R2 are acting as a biasing circuit. The right hand side of the circuit is the output side of the amplifier and resistor RL, or in some diagrams it is given as RC, collector resistor, or resistor at load side. Load is the output terminal of any circuit, and in this case collector is acting as the output terminal. Therefore, RL is labeled as resistor at collector. It converts current variations to voltage variation, and therefore we get a large amplified collector current at the output terminal. Meanwhile, resistor RE, that is emitter side resistor, provides thermal stability to the circuit. Since a large amount of current is flown through the terminal of emitter, combination of resistor and capacitor C2 acts as a thermal stability for this common emitter configuration circuit. The next are the pairs of capacitors. There are two types of capacitor present in the circuit: the coupling capacitors and the bypass capacitor. Capacitors which are at the input and output side, that is C in and C out of the circuit, connected to the base and collectors terminal, is known as coupling capacitors. This input and output pair of capacitor allows AC signal to flow, and it blocks the DC signal, which is acting like a filtering circuit. While the second type of capacitor is called as bypass capacitor, which is connected to the emitter terminal of the circuit. This emitter capacitor is used to increase AC gain in the circuit so as to keep the circuit in the biasing state. This was only the introduction for the single stage, more specifically to common emitter amplifier. In the next slide, we will be seeing more detailed working operation of CE amplifier. Thank you.